Good morning. We are live with OCC Living, and today I am sitting in for the fabulous Miss Jeanette Berry. She is serving the community as she always does, and so I am Tia Glenn Honore with Essence of Joy Counseling. I serve as the counselor with OCC, and today we have a lovely guest with us. This is...
Hi y'all, my name is Amanda. I'm the Community Health Education Manager at Planned Parenthood, and I'm here today to talk about menopause.
Yes, so we are going to talk about menopause because as Amanda and I were chatting beforehand, some years ago it just wasn't something that was conversation. And so I will tell you, Amanda, that I think it is fabulous that it's something that is becoming more norm that we talk about. And it's not taboo, and it's not that quiet little secret that women struggle with silently. So I know that you have a slideshow here, and so I think one of the things that would be great is if we start out with there are stages of menopause. So let's start with the stages of menopause. Let's educate them on the different stages.
For sure. So when we talk about menopause, automatically people just assume it with symptoms, right? So when we talk about hot flashes, night sweats, forgetfulness, fatigue, brain fog, they automatically think, oh no, what's happening? And then they say, I'm in menopause. But menopause actually has different stages. The first stage is going to be called perimenopause, which means when a person will start to get the most symptoms. And also a good indicator is when someone's period starts to change just a little bit.
Right.
Some person might have spotting. Some people may have a heavier period. It may come and go, and get this, for about 8 years.
Oh my God.
For some people, even 10 years.
So I think that's why people nicknamed it the change.
The change, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I've heard many terms for that. Not just the change, but also backwards puberty, because it's a long series, right? And it happens. The body just naturally starts to change, and it's something that doesn't happen overnight, like puberty.
Correct.
So perimenopause is when a person will have the most symptoms total.
Yeah.
Menopause itself is when a person has not had a period for an entire year. And that's not when it starts and stops. That's the entire year when a person has not had a menstrual cycle. And then the day after that is considered postmenopause.
So I think, so what you just did, I think is very beneficial because I agree with you. I think a lot of people do typically just like lump it all in together. And I think a lot of people do get confused on the different stages of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so what I didn't know is that the perimenopause?
Perimenopause, yes.
It can last
for some people, and then even some people can last for 10 years.
That is mind-blowing.
Because when spotting happens or when a period comes back, that means the perimenopause is still in the process.
Okay, so you could go for 10 months, and then you have a cycle.
Yes.
So you're still in peri.
Yeah.
Okay. And so here's something else that I think a lot of people don't give enough credence to. Because so much is happening on the inside of your body, people tend to feel like they're going crazy.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so then I have a lot of people who will come to me, and that's what they say. I feel like I'm losing my mind. And another thing that I don't know if it's a symptom in one of your slides, but during perimenopause, anxiety in women increases.
Yes.
It becomes a thing that, I've never been anxious before. And then I don't understand why I'm feeling this now. And we now know through a lot of research that anxiety is one of these growing symptoms in perimenopause.
Yes, it's actually a very common symptom. And a lot of times, unfortunately, I'll be in class and I'll be teaching, and some people will, raise their hand and ask questions. And of course, this is a learning opportunity. And because when we talk about menopause, people only associate it with hot flashes. They're like, you know, sometimes I just get anxious.
Yes.
I could be happy and I could have the best day ever. And then when I get in my car, this overwhelming feeling of anxiousness creeps in, or depression.
Yes.
I'll wake up and not feel excited about things.
Yes.
That's a normal part of menopause that
Yeah.
gets overlooked a lot. Just because it could be, it sounds the same like other symptoms of depression
Yes.
or just general anxiety that people get every day from living life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another symptom that I have had clients come to me and say is the increasing irritability, right?
That's one.
And so there are some women, or some of you can think about in your childhood, and you didn't understand why your mom may have been just a raging person all of a sudden for some reason, and you were like, what is wrong with this woman, right?
Yeah.
Not understanding that irritability that she was experiencing was likely a part of menopause. And that's another one of those symptoms along with anxiety.
Yes.
The irritability is something that is not discussed as well. So I have women that will come during these menopausal signs, stages. And they talk about the anxiety and the irritability. And the irritability becomes something that brings about a lot of guilt because they feel really bad with the way that they have reacted to the irritability to everybody else in their lives. But I don't know why I'm doing it. It just comes out of nowhere, and I don't know how to control it. So yeah, I'm happy to hear that that's something that they are speaking up about.
Of course, yeah. And I think the more that we know, and I like to share this in my class, the more that we know, the more we can normalize these symptoms to help us feel like we're not alone in this. Because when there's community in these conversations, it helps us just, I guess, knowing, like when you don't know something, and that builds anxiety in itself as humans.
Yes.
But when you talk about it, you're like, I'm not in this alone.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it's not just me.
Yes.
This is normal. Okay, I'm having a moment. Menopause is you know, doing its work right now.
Yes.
So I'm feeling anxious, but this is not gonna be forever.
Right.
Let me take a moment and breathe. In my class, I talk about what are some things that bring you joy.
Yes.
So just channeling your mind and just going back to, okay, I'm having a hard time. What are my gratitudes? What am I thankful for? My family, my community, my friends. And say, okay, you know, this is temporary feeling that's going to change because it's menopause.
Okay.
And of course, if it's not, then I always encourage people, have those conversations with your doctors. Be an advocate for yourself. If something doesn't feel right, a person deserves to get the care that they need.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about perimenopause, which is the one that most people know about.
Yes.
And then we now know that menopause is that period where there's no period.
Yes. So no period for an entire year.
Is menopause.
Is menopause.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about postmenopause.
Yes.
What does that look like?
So postmenopause means, congratulations, you've gone through menopause. Postmenopause simply means that a person will not have a period anymore. Reproduction is no longer possible. A person cannot get pregnant at postmenopause because they're not having any periods or anything like that. And so afterwards, a lot of times people describe the symptoms as going away completely or just settling down more.
There are what I've had some women come and talk about is there are some other symptoms that come that impact them during intercourse.
Yes.
And that becomes something that they don't really want to talk about because it's embarrassing. So what I have learned is that some of the symptoms just become different.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the treatment options because I see that on your slide you have some treatment options.
Yeah, so if a person is experiencing any symptoms, of course, we can use natural remedies. We talked about earlier for hot flashes. person can wear layers of clothes and take it off, but let's be real, we're in Texas. Nobody's gonna be wearing extra layers, so bring on that portable fan or just an ice cold glass of water could be helpful. If someone wants to, using any medication that has hormonal treatment in it, it can be found in some birth controls, and of course, always talking to your doctors is always recommended because we want to make sure those conversations are being had because everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
And so those are important. I know you talked about uncomfortableness for folks at different stages in life, and that's really real. And it's a conversation that people don't really feel comfortable having.
Correct.
But if they are experiencing things like vaginal dryness or just irritability in that area, we got to think of it this way in a medical sense. There needs to be an increased blood flow. So however a person feels comfortable, whether that's taking medication, applying creams, those are things that can help with that dryness.
Yeah.
And of course, just being, having a conversation with partners is also important too.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, you know, this is not something that we can do instantly. You know, I like to have a conversation. We got to do X, Y, and Z before things start to work for me.
Yeah, and so you mentioned conversations with partners. That's another thing where I have clients that'll come to me and it becomes a problem because the partner doesn't really understand menopause.
Yes.
Right? A lot of the partners, they know some of the jokes about menopause, but they
do.
don't really know the ins and outs of menopause.
Yeah.
And so it can sometimes really take a toll on a relationship. So I agree with you having conversations with partners, and partners becoming educated on what menopause is, what the stages are, and how it impacts your spouse or significant other individually, because menopause impacts women differently. Some women struggle with the lack of sleep, and the lack of sleep brings on some of these other mental and emotional challenges. If I'm sleepy, if I'm tired, then I'm gonna be irritable, right? So that kind of brings about some of these other issues that we find ourselves dealing with.
Yeah.
So communicating with the partners is definitely something that I think is great.
Yeah.
And then, as always, as the mental health advocate in the room, definitely find you someone that can support you. Even if you have a mental health advocate that has not been through menopause, that doesn't mean that they can't support you with the challenges that you're having. So don't feel like it's something that you have to go through alone. You will definitely have somebody who will have an empathetic ear and that will be there to support you in whatever challenges you find yourself going through during these stages of menopause. So with that being said, I guess we can wrap up for the day. And Amanda, why don't you tell us where people can find you and get some of these amazing resources that you have available for them?
Yeah, so if you ever need, just go to our Planned Parenthood website. You can type in education and request for an educator to come and speak to you. All of our education services are free. We strongly believe that everybody deserves the right to learn about themselves, to improve their health. And yeah, we want to make a safe space for everybody to have these conversations because, like we mentioned earlier, stigma is real, taboo is real, and just the shame around these. And the more we normalize it, the more we can grow together to be stronger humans.
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to understand that there are places where you can get information, where you can get support, where you can get resources.
Yes.
So we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's really great
Thank you so much.
women to know that there's somewhere for them to go.
Yes, and you're not alone. So if you are feeling any of these symptoms, and I want to make sure that I go over all the symptoms because I know I'm forgetting some, and ironically, forgetfulness is one of the symptoms.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
So let me just go over this.
Okay.
Irregular periods, we talked about insomnia. Sometimes people also feel an itchiness or a tinglingness around their body.
Ear itching.
Ear itching is one of them, yes. Mood changes, weight gain.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen shoulder, soreness of breast, thinning hair, fatigue, changes in taste. That was weird when I found that out.
Yeah.
ear sounds, joint pains, dizzy spells, frequent headaches. Sometimes people may get recurring UTIs, a change in their taste, like I mentioned, brittle nails, and tendinitis, the ringing in the ear. So those are all common things when someone is going through menopause. I know we touched base on a few of them and went in more in depth, but the list goes on and it continues.
Yeah, I think people are just more familiar with when, for me, the hot flashes felt like internally combusting from the inside out. So I think people are just more familiar with that one.
That's
but I'm really
my slide.
Yeah, it's like you would just explode anyway.
Yes.
But I'm really glad that you did the other symptoms
Yes.
because it's more than just that. It is more than that. And then the night sweats.
The night sweats, yes.
Yes, you wake up and the sheets are just soaked.
Yes.
So, I think education is key though. And so,
Thank you.
again, thank you so much for sharing the information that you had.
Yeah.
So, yes, just keep in mind that, you have a resource here through OCC, of course. Ms. Jeanette always provides an abundance of resources and community connections for you guys. And so with that, I think we will call it a day. And just thank you for joining us. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. And we hope we've done Ms. Jeanette proud today.
I hope so.
Until the next time, have a good Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.